Welcome everyone to 284 News. My name is Javon Wilson.
I'm Kamal Haynes.
And I'm Ron Grant.
And we are so thrilled and happy to be coming to you live out of the beautiful British Virgin Islands. The content continues via our website, 284media.com.
In today's news, a Royal Virgin Islands Police Force Sergeant charged following discovery of ammunition.
We also see the Nanny Cay Hotel opening a new Seaview wing.
And 2 charged with possession of a 9mm pistol and 8 rounds of ammunition in police traffic operation.
The United Kingdom are regulating the UK, finally approving the first COVID-19 pill for treatment, and viewers, government not dismissing judgment of the court, says Premier Fahie, special select committee to decide whether Willock should be indemnified. We have all the details for these stories and so much more on today's edition of 284 News.
You value traditions. You value music. You value education. Family.
I love you.
Service.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Love. Life. At Popular, we're committed to you and everything our community values. For the things you value the most, count on us. Popular.
Well, welcome everyone. It's Friday, November 5th, 2021. I'm Kamal Haynes.
And my name is Javon Wilson. It's Friday, but of course we have more content for you here on 284 News. Now, I want to remind our viewers that Lobster Fest 2021 is definitely on. Just last night, we had the opportunity to sit down with the Deputy Director of the BVI Tourist Board, Mr. Rodney Skelton, as well as Mr. Carnell Klein. He is the Project Officer, as well as Chairman of the Anegada Lobster Fest Committee. Both gentlemen very excited, and of course inviting all of our restaurants to partake in the activities, but also our foodies to head over to Anegada November 26th through the 28th. So viewers, if you missed the interview, do check out our Facebook page, 284 Media, for the full exclusive interview.
And viewers, we turn to news from the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, where a 41-year-old police sergeant has been charged with 2 serious offenses, including unlawful possession of ammunition. But this was revealed in a media release from the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force on Friday, November 5th. Where the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force confirmed that the police sergeant charged is Lenroy Samuel, who in addition to the ammunition charge is facing a second charge for breach of trust. Well, according to the release, Samuel was arrested and later charged after a search of his residence uncovered several rounds of ammunition. Well, Commissioner of Police Mark Collins had stated previously that any officer found to have engaged in criminal activity will be swiftly brought to justice. While he said, and I quote, "It is very important for an officer of the law to have integrity and abstain from any form of illegal activity. But those found to be on the wrong side of the law will be arrested, charged, and prosecuted." Well, Javon, obviously with this story, it's evident that the new Commissioner Collins is adamant of weeding out those bad apples from the police force. And viewers, we move on to our second story, where 1 male and a female have been charged with possession of a firearm and ammunition following a police traffic stop operation in Road Town. Well, there are 44-year-old David Cummings, a native of Jamaica, and 56-year-old Lynette Summersell, a native of Guyana, who are charged with carrying an unlicensed firearm as well as unlawful possession of ammunition. Well, this was confirmed in a media release from the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, which said the duo were apprehended during a traffic stop on Wednesday, November 3rd. Well, according to police, Cummings, who was the driver, and Summersell, the passenger, were in a vehicle which was stopped in a road town during an operation. Well, the report said the vehicle was searched and a 9mm pistol with 8 rounds of ammunition was found hidden in the vehicle. Well, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force said this incident marks the second firearm seizure made in the last month and the third seizure of ammunition. Where the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force said, and I quote, "Well, on October 15th, a search warrant was executed on a home in Bogus Bay, and a loaded firearm with a magazine and 7 rounds of ammunition were uncovered. Charges are pending in this matter." Well, they continued, in an unrelated matter on October 12th, a search executed on a premise at the Palestina estate uncovered 3 rounds of ammunition. Mary Roberts, 25, was subsequently charged with unlawful possession of ammunition in this matter. Well, Jovan, we obviously see the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force busy at getting some of these guns and ammunition from off the streets of the territory.
And we continue to wish them well. Certainly not an easy task, but of course they are trying their absolute best to do right by the citizens of this territory. As we move on, Money Matters BVI, the Financial Literacy and Financial Education Program of the BVI Financial Services Commission, the Commission, has again sought to engage the adolescent segment of the BVI population through literary analysis with the assistance of the Rotary Club of Tortola. Now, viewers, this is the second year that the two have partnered to present the Adolescent Financial Literacy Prospectus Forum. While the work of the Money Matters BVI group from kindergarten to retirement age, that's the regular age, the concern persists that without sufficient engagement and buying into the process of financial education, young people can become susceptible to falling into poor financial habits. These habits may include participating in informal lending and investment schemes, not taking advantage of the public and work-related benefits, becoming prey to destructive credit card baiting pitches, and turning to illegal means of producing income. Now, the coordinator for financial literacy at the Commission, Mrs. Rhonda Hodge Smith, also noted that lack of sufficient financial education among young persons could have a potentially lasting effect. She also noted that the issue is exacerbated by the reality that without encouragement from programs such as those offered through the Money BVI organization, many young residents will not independently seek to improve their financial knowledge. Now, viewers, the Rotary Club of Tortola, seeking to carry out the Rotary International mandate to conduct community-focused work concentrating on 7 key areas, has jumped at the opportunity to partner with Money Matters BVI under the September and October 2021 Rotary International themes, Basic Education and Literacy, and Economic and Community Development, respectively. Rotary Club of Tortola's 2021-2022 president, Mr. Ian Smith, stated, and I quote, "In deciding to continue the partnership with the Commission regarding the forum, his club considered the benefits for current and future economic development of participating students and their peers," end of quote. The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Commission, Mr. Kenneth Baker, stated that in providing the project for the second year, it was considered that initiatives like the forum fell squarely within the Commission's mandate to, and I quote, "adopt such measures as may be necessary to appropriately inform the general public on functions and matters relating to or affecting any financial services," end of quote. And this, of course, is as stipulated in the Financial Services Commission Act 2001. He also lauded the work of Money Matters BVI, which launched in 2011, as critical, relevant, and effective, and also commended the Rotary Club of Tortola for the attractive prizes which continue to be pledged to the forum. Now, viewers, the 2022 forum will focus on the timeless literary classic on the basics of money. Of course, The Richest Man in Babylon. I mean, this is a very popular book. Now, during the forum, viewers, participating students will be required to give a meaningful analysis of the principles in the book and convey how they and their peers can utilize the strategies to improve their chances of lifelong financial well-being and resiliency. As with the 2021 Money Matters BVI Forum, which highlighted the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, the Rotary Club of Tortola has pledged another $10,000 in prizes that will benefit participating students and their schools. Participation is expected from all secondary schools in the territory. Now, for more information on the forum and the work that Money Matters does, persons may contact 852-4777, or you can visit the Money Matters BVI Facebook page at Money Matters BVI. Always a good collaboration between corporate BVI as well as the nonprofit organizations. Kamal, as we continue to examine a very key element, and I think a lot of persons agree is not taught in school, and that is financial literacy. I'm very happy to see Money Matters BVI keeping that conversation going and really targeting young people to ensure that we are curating and really building a resilient financial future.
Indeed. Our viewers will up next. Government not dismissing judgment of the court, says Premier Fahie, and a special select committee to decide whether Willock should be indemnified. And we also see a dose of hope for the tourism industry in the territory as Nanny Cay Hotel opens up a new Seaview wing. We get to these stories when 284 News return. Well, welcome back to 284 News viewers. Well, Premier Andrew Fahie has said that his government has not dismissed the judgment set out by the Supreme High Court, but is merely undergoing a secondary procedure to determine whether Speaker Julian Willock should be indemnified for his legal bill. Well, the Premier made the comment while concluding the debate for the motion to establish a select committee which will decide on Willock's fate after the motion was passed in the House of Assembly with a 5-2 majority vote. Well, Premier Fahie said that under the BVI's constitution, the House of Assembly has the authority to indemnify the Speaker for any legal costs attained if it chooses.
I just want to say first of all that I think that the House has matured quite well and continues to mature. And as I close with this, Mr. Speaker, I just want to state that no one is setting aside the decision of the judge. This doesn't do it at all. The House has a legal scope to always identify the Speaker. And not saying the House will do it or do it not. The law allows the House to do that. And Mr. Speaker, the House has the legal authority to ratify the Speaker if it so chooses to exercise such authority. And the leader of the opposition's motion, Mr. Speaker, which was well placed for his intentions, is one that leans to suggest exempt rather than the indemnify the Speaker, which the law and House is afforded by law to do, but is subject for the recommendations, which is what would a select committee would have had to be doing anyway. No one is criticizing the judge at all. That's not our scope. Although in law, I'm sure there is a case study or case studies or instances that would allow for such. But that's not the intent of this motion at all, nor to evaluate to set aside the judgment.
Well, the Premier said the motion's main goal is to collect the facts surrounding the Speaker's action to determine whether he can be compensated for his legal fees through this measure.
The only action the substantial motion seeks is to allow for a fact-finding mission of the actions to be determined whether or not the facilitating of the payment can be undertaken or not, or should the facilitating of the payment should be undertaken or not. So that's the main thing with it. So what I would put to you, Mr. Speaker, is I want to thank members for this. I feel that the Select Committee will bring out what it has to bring out. And Mr. Speaker, I now move that the motion is on the floor and for it to be voted on with the Select Committee as is. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
While voting in favor of the motion was Premier Fahie, Deputy Premier Dr. Natalia Wheatley, Transportation Minister Kai Reimer, Health Minister Carvin Malone, and Junior Minister for Tourism Sharida Castro. But the only two opposing votes came from the two present opposition legislators, which were Leader Marlon Penn and Melvin Mitch Turnbull, while the other members of the House of Assembly were absent during the voting stage. But meanwhile, Premier Fahie said that the select committee will consist of 3 members, namely Labour and Immigration Minister Vincent Wheatley and opposition legislators Mark Vanterpool and Julian Fraser. But Javon, obviously this was the center of attention for this entire week. Obviously with the whole debate of who should pay what and what should happen. We see obviously government moving forward with their stance in obviously establishing this committee and then doing their own deliberations to decide whether Willock should be compensated to settle his legal bills.
It's quite something to watch as it continues to unravel. I think, again, one of the things we see being reiterated in the public is what the public thinks is an opportunity or a deliberate effort, rather, that is to drag this out instead of making a precise decision that will not only settle the concerns of the people, but also bring a quick resolution to the matter. I want to just read something that I just saw posted as we were going through this story, and it is by Mr. Javon Klein, who is also a social activist within the community, and towards the end really capturing what I think is the sentiment on the ground. He says, "Make no mistake, the voice of the people have been heard and will not die. Checks will not erase the memory of the majority. Your long, irrelevant speeches insult the intellect of our nation. This decision to form a committee is not a decision for the BVI's benefit. This decision is to discredit the judge's verdict. This decision to discredit the judge's verdict, is not a decision of justice. Every member that failed to make only the right decision in this matter has failed the BVI in the moment." And Kamal, again, reiterating a concern that many share. Persons are saying that, yes, the Premier has said this is not to override the judgment of the courts, but then what if the committee selects for Willock to not, for Willock to be exempted from this? Well, then it will be overriding the court's decision.
Indeed. And I guess in terms of Mr. Klein's comments, obviously it's shared among a lot of persons across the territory, and that's where I guess they would have that constitutional right come next election to put their X on who they prefer. Obviously with who knows, maybe this government will have time to redeem themselves for this particular hiccup. Some persons don't see it as a hiccup because of some persons are stating basically that Mr. Willock was in the right, obviously, for going against the grain and calling a spade for a spade in terms of the spotting the error that he would have seen regarding the COI attorneys not
and it's a very valid and legitimate concern, but again it doubles back to processes and making sure that we're doing our due diligence. And I think this is in all actuality one of the things that the COI has come to reveal, some of these loopholes that needs to be fixed.
But I also think too, one of the main what some persons are really frustrated about when it comes to this whole thing about the whole injunction was the fact that Willock chose to discontinue it in the first instance. That's what a lot of persons are so upset about, because why it is according to what I've heard on the grounds, why is it that you would have gone through all of this then to call it quits, when all you had to do was follow the instructions of the judge, which indicated, okay, well you started the procedure but you did it wrong, you need to go through this channel or that channel. Why not obviously why not use all of those resources basically in terms of going through all of these avenues before discontinuing? Why discontinue at that end? Because some persons are saying maybe if he had continued, he would have gotten the verdict he wanted, and then obviously persons probably would not have been as frustrated and annoyed as they are presently, because he probably would have had a victory. Who knows? Right.
And again, it really dates back to the processes. None is exempted from following the laws and the processes that allow for transparency in this territory. Now, viewers, as we move on, a little positive news. Just over a week ago at Naniki, Clive McCoy, the director of the BVI Tourist Board, unveiled the first 9 rooms in the newly constructed Seaview wing of Nanny Cay. Now, viewers, with superior rooms on the ground and first floors and premium rooms on the top floor, each has over 400 square feet of cool interior space and breezy balcony with views over Sir Francis Drake Channel and Outer Marina. The additional 9 rooms will open on December 1st. Now, viewers, each room has been finished to a 4-star standard in a relaxing coastal decor with 2 queen beds, comfortable sofas, in-room Wi-Fi, and TVs. This is an elevator. There is an elevator, for guests to access the higher floors and a walkway connecting the new buildings to the existing reception block. The Seaview wing complements 34 existing rooms in the historic garden wing. Now, on the ground floor, there are standard rooms with either 2 full-size beds or 2 queen-size beds and a seating area. Deluxe rooms upstairs also have either 2 full-size beds or 2 queen-size beds. Now, all of the ground floor standard rooms have had a light renovation, with a fresh paint throughout, some restructuring of bathrooms, new ceilings, and lighting. The linens have also been replaced with white and turquoise to brighten the rooms, making them feel fresh and, of course, very welcoming. All of the deluxe rooms have been completely rebuilt as well, high ceilings making them feel even more spacious, and modern coastal furniture with top quality mattresses, ensuring a great night's sleep. Now, viewers, upon completion of the Seaview wing, Naniki will have 52 rooms, as well as 2- and 3-bedroom villas for short-term rental. Room rates for double occupancy range from $140 to $225 per night in low seasons, and $170 to $250 in the high seasons. Amenities at Naniki include bars and restaurants, of course, a swimming pool, free Wi-Fi, waterfront townhouses, and there's so much more to go over with this special, I think one of the prime locations as we think about BVI tourism. A really beautiful place to stay, key location, and we're very happy to see, especially amidst everything that has been going on with COVID-19 and the financial fallout. We have seen Naniki still managing to push forward with its goal to not only beautify but also renovate, coming out of the hurricanes of 2017, but also as we push forward through this pandemic, still representing a lot of hope for the tourism industry, and certainly something the BVI should be proud of.
Well, indeed. Well, viewers, up next, Delta secures 5-year contract with the BVI Electricity Corporation as main suppliers of refined fuel, replaces Sol after the 3-year stint, and UK regulator approved first COVID-19 pill for treatment. Get to these stories after a word from our sponsors.
The wait is over. CCT Fire is here. Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. CCT Fire. Bring it home and upgrade today.
Well, welcome back, viewers. Well, Delta Petroleum Caribbean Limited will be the main supplier of refined petroleum to the BVI Electricity Corporation over the next 5 years, after the signing of a contract last Thursday, October 27th, to provide fuel to the corporation until 2026. Well, the BVIEC held a contract signing ceremony to signify the new partnership between the two entities, which officially commenced from November 1st, 2021. Well, chairwoman of the BVIEC, Mrs. Rosemary Flax, explained the criteria used to select Delta as the winning bidder of the contract. Well, she said Delta satisfied all the requirements needed, which made them the preferred choice, but also revealed that the contract, despite being for 5 years duration, will be split into 2 separate terms which will run consecutively.
Based on the analysis of the bids received on the 22nd of April 2021, the corporation accepted Delta Petroleum Caribbean Limited's bid for supply of number 2 diesel. This acceptance was based on the guarantees, conditions, specifications, and price stated in their tender document dated the 21st of April 2021. Hence, the contract was awarded to them for 5 years. Due to the present uncertainty in the global marketplace brought about by the pandemic, both parties have initially agreed to a 2-year term commencing the 1st of November, with a caveat for a renewal on the same terms and conditions based on the mutual consent of both parties, for the further 3 years from the 1st of November 2023 to October 31, 2026. Delta is no stranger to BVIEC and to this industry, and we are confident that as in the past, they will perform their responsibilities in the highest standard.
Well, Delta's Regional General Manager, BVIEC Sylvester, said that his company had to do some re-evaluation after losing the contract they initially held to Sol in 2018. Well, he said he believed the 2018 contract was lost because of the pricing bid the company submitted.
We're here this morning on this very important occasion to do something that we have been doing quite a lot. We lost the contract 3 years ago, and I think it's on the basis of pricing. BVIEC always looks for the best and lowest price. And we, in this time, we sharpened our pencil pretty well and went back to a very low price that had not been offered to electricity since I think 2007. And that price is what I think gives us the advantage, along with our very good service and the fact that we have proper storage pipelines in place and that we could supply you all. I'm happy that we are signing today, and I'm also happy that our team at Delta Petroleum continues to do a good job in supplying BVIEC.
Well, in the meantime, Managing Director of Delta, Vernon Lake, said that Thursday's signing meant that his company was now the main supplier of every electricity company in the region where a Delta Petroleum branch is located. Well, he said his company has been in business with the BVIEC for nearly 4 decades and was the first petroleum company to bring unleaded fuel to the BVI.
For me, it's a great pleasure to speak with you this morning. It's been 38 years. 38 years. You got that? That I have been associated through Delta with the BVI Electricity Corporation. Our first contract with you was in 1984 when Shell was here, a monopoly in the country. Prices were going through the roof. You could hardly drive your car. You could hardly buy cooking gas. It was impossible. My dear company, Delta Petroleum, came along and changed everything. There's another point I want to make, just for the history books. Delta Petroleum was the first company in the BVI and the Eastern Caribbean to bring unleaded gasoline to these islands. I remember distinctly, I had a visit from the manager of Shell who came to my home to influence me that unleaded gasoline would be impossible in the BVI, that it would be too costly, that we'd have to take up all our tanks, clean them out to be able to put in this new product. What he did not understand, what he did not know, and I did not pass on to him, was the fact that at 6 o'clock the next morning, we were launching unleaded gasoline in this country.
Well, meanwhile, General Manager of the BVI Electricity Corporation, Leroy Abraham, spoke to the significance of the signing.
The relationship, as Mr. Sylvester pointed out, it never ceased during the course of the 30-something years, because at some point in stage, albeit they may not have been providing the major contract for the provision of fuel for the power station, there's always been, in some capacity, some contract which they held, whether to supply Anegada or supply New Oil. So the relationship has always been continuous, and also the gasoline for the vehicle fleet. So the relationship has been consistent. It has just changed in relation to the products which have been awarded to them from time to time.
All viewers, General Manager Abraham said that the relationship between Delta and the BVI Electricity Corporation over their 30-year plus relationship has been consistent, and he is confident in them providing excellent service during that 5-year deal. Well, Javon, that was some good news for the territory. Obviously, you know, one of the concerns he would have raised was that they were basically searching for that, you know, that person, basically that company to have, you know, to provide all for the service for the territory cover. Without all, there's no electricity, and thank God that that deal worked out in time.
Absolutely, viewers. And that is all the time we have for today. And of course, this news week. Thank you so much for rocking with us throughout. But join us again on Monday. But of course, over the weekend, check out our website, 284media.com. My name is Javon Wilson.
And I'm Kamal Haynes. Viewers, have a great weekend.
Bye.